Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. We're back. We've torn down the rifle. Now it's time to build it back up. But before we do, I think it's important. One thing that is nice to know about your rifle, whether it be a CZ or any other rifle, is to know if the rifle is headspace correctly and what that headspace measurement actually is. And that's going to have implications down the line when we go for lot testing, because there may be some accuracy gains that we can get by trying to match ammunition types to the headspace of the rifle, or even modifying the headspace of the rifle through things like bolt shims or barrel shims. So let's talk about how to measure headspace on the CZ457 Varmint MTR. Welcome back. We are going to be discussing today how to measure the headspace of a CZ457 rifle. And essentially what we need is two dimensions. We need the distance from the bolt face, this portion here, to the edge of the action, the receiver, and we need to compare that to the shank distance of the barrel itself. So the difference between this edge and this face. Now, it is possible to get away doing this with some nice digital calipers or dial calipers, but the actual best way and most precise way to do it is with a depth micrometer. So you'll need a depth micrometer that is capable of reading to the thousandths of an inch, and one that has enough range to go from between 1 and 2 inches, because these dimensions are around 1 1/4 inches, 1.2 inches, that kind of thing. So you'll need something that can measure that range. You may also notice from the previous teardown video that I've put a trigger back onto the receiver, which will become important so that we can properly cock the bolt to make sure that we're measuring to the actual face where the round sits and not the protruding firing pin. So let's get this out on a bench vise so I can show you exactly what we're going to measure. All right, so let's measure the barrel shank distance. So this is coming out to just under 2. So this is actually 1 inch plus 175 thousandths plus another 16. So this is 1.191 is our distance here. Now if you were to do this with digital calipers, probably could get something similar. Let's find out. This may not be as precise. If you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're not off to the side. You're completely perpendicular to the surface that you want to measure. Come down. And so we get 1.1915. So actually pretty close. That's the barrel. We're going to take the measurement off the depth micrometer as the truth. Now we have to move towards the action. With the action, we are going to have to put the bolt into the rifle, because again, we're going to be measuring from this surface here, where the round actually sits, to this flat face of the action. So we need the bolt in the rifle. We need to cock the bolt. Set this to safe. So red is fire, white is safe. Make sure that's on safe. That way the firing pin won't fall and mess with our measurements. And we want to measure right in the middle of there, watching out for the extractor pins on the side. So if we kind of do it like this, you can actually kind of look through and make sure you're hitting the right spot. And let's see what this measures. So if I can, let's see if I can do it this way so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I'm trying to line up right in here. You can see the micrometer depth gauge. We go until we hit. Right about there. So this value, it's over 2. Each rotation of this is 25 thousandths. So we went 1 rotation. So it's 1.225 plus another 9.5 thousandths. So between 9 and 10. So 1.225 plus 9.5 is 1.2345. So that is the distance there. Now the difference between those two values is going to give us our headspace. So if we take our distance from the action face to the bolt face of 1.2345 and subtract the space of the barrel shank, which was 1.1910, we get a headspace of 43.5 thousandths of an inch. So knowing the headspace is important because we can use tools like this, or even basic calibers, to find the rim thickness of the rounds that our rifle likes, and maybe if our rifle doesn't like a particular ammunition, we can maybe be able to change some things about the rifle and maybe increase accuracy. I have yet to test this theory, but we will be testing it in future videos. For example, this round here measures right about 43 thousandths of rim thickness. So this might be a good candidate, or this brand of ammunition, because the rim thickness varies by brand. This might be a good candidate to test in our rifle. If we have something else that has a vastly different rim thickness, we might want to explore the use of bolt shims to actually shim the bolt to change the headspace to match certain different ammunition manufacturers' rim thicknesses. So we're going to test all this in a future video, but that's kind of what's coming next once we get everything dialed in back on the rifle. But knowing the headspace is extremely important, because what that will allow us to do is match our headspace to the ammunition that we use. So like I said, we're going to use some bolt shims which will actually go in between here and here. In order to do that, we're going to disassemble the bolt. So there'll be a video all about disassembling the bolt on this CZ457 and exploring shim kits and eventually doing some real-world testing between different lots of ammo that have different rim thicknesses. And then we can shim the bolt to see if actually matching the headspace of the rifle to the rim thickness does anything for accuracy. Now that we have our headspace measurement, in a future video we're going to take a little detour and we're going to talk about measuring rim thickness and then the potential accuracy gains by sort of matching headspace and rim thickness to various ammunitions. And if you have a certain ammunition and your headspace don't match, how we might alleviate that issue by shimming the bolt, shimming the barrel, all that good stuff. So all in the quest for accuracy, at least trying to point us in the right direction of what ammunition our rifle might like. Some rifles are more picky than others, and a lot of that has to do with headspace and that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about that in a future video. Hope you stay tuned, and until I see you next time, as always, score more points.